Hello and welcome everybody to the latest edition of Midweek Matters. I'm your host, James Graham, joined as always by the great Charlie White.
James Graham, how are you, brother?
I'm doing very well. We've also got Brandon Smith with us here.
The walking article.
Yes, straight from your teammate's wedding.
Yes, it was a very good time. I enjoyed myself, but obviously the elephant in the room on the way back was got some strange news.
So it's all breaking. Charlie, I want to throw to you to talk us through the sequence of events and what's being reported.
The ins and outs. Well, so Buzz Rothwell broke it today, obviously, that you've played your last game for the Roosters in his mind, and the sticking point is the amount of money that the Roosters are willing to chuck in. So the Roosters are apparently able to chuck in $200,000 for the remainder of the year of your $400,000 remaining. However, Souths only want to pay $160 for the rest of the year due to their cap restrictions they've got. So there's still a bit of an argument over $40K and who takes that $40K hit, whether it's the Roosters or the Bunnies.
As long as I'm getting it.
You'll get it no matter what, mate. You're safe. Your money's safe. But it's a big story, and I mean, it's apparently going to be official at the end of the week.
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange one. Like, I'd obviously had talks about it before previously, but nothing. I don't know. I'd never really was a part of the negotiations. Obviously, things were happening in the background, but something has happened overnight, and my manager rang me this morning and sort of just told me that what you just said there was pretty much what he told me, and then it's looking more official by the second, but nothing's official yet. We still got a lot of things to sort out beforehand, like where my 40K is going to go. But yeah, it's a bit of a surprise, but I'll have more details for you tomorrow. I think I got some people to call, figure it all out.
Is this something that you want to see rectified pretty quickly, Cheese? And like, sorry, obviously you want your future sorted out, but in terms of where you play this year, because you've got aspirations to play again this year, is that reporting you think on the money that you've played your last game for the Roosters?
Well, it definitely looks that way by the articles and conversations I'm having. Like everything I've read so far doesn't seem like I'm very wanted. So, I don't know.
Has anyone actually reached out and spoke to you directly from the club?
Not. Yeah, Robert rang me just before, but on the way here, and it was just sort of like it was a good conversation. Like, it was nice. He's like, mate, we're just trying to save some money. Like, that's pretty much what it was. It was direct, but he was pretty surprised about how it's come about today.
Yeah. You know, it's not the only saving they're trying to make. They're obviously trying to clear salary cap for something, because Dom Young now is going to go to Newcastle by all accounts. That should probably get confirmed later this week as well. But the big thing with that is the Roosters are going to chuck in $250 a year of his $450,000 a year salary.
And he's got...
So the Knights getting in for only $200,000 a year, which is a great bit of business for them.
That is a steal.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dom Young probably not kicked on as much as... Well, not even kicked on. He's not replicated the form that he showed at Newcastle when he first arrived on these shores, which was a surprise. I think most people thought he'd go to the Roosters and kick and improve and become one of the best wingers in the competition. And he's in a spot now where he can't get a game in first grade, which is strange.
Yeah. And I mean, I imagine it's tough for you, Cheese. I can only think about how I feel leaving weddings, and I feel horrific. Leaving weddings. And then to have all these headlines come up, because the other thing is, even though it's not officially done, the media's now saying it's done. So every headline is Brandon Smith effective immediately goes to South. How does it all feel? Is it set it in yet, or is it still too early?
Oh, I'm still feeling the effects of the wedding, but I guess, like, I find it's going to be hard to go into training, like, and I still got to do that. We're meant to have the week off. I'm playing some reserve. I'm training with the reserve grade side this week, so I guess it's going to be a weird feeling going into the club, and I don't know, because it's not going to happen overnight. Like it can't. They're not going to be able to draw up a contract or do all that overnight, and no one's answering their phone at the moment as well. So, it's going to be an awkward one, but.
You know what's strange in all this? Now, I know a lot of our listeners, our viewers, will be like, "Oh, BS! You know exactly what's going on. You just can't say anything." Well, I have first-hand experience of the media either making, or certain journalists either making a really intelligent, educated guess, or knowing where my future was going to lie before I did. And it's really frustrating because you want to have those genuine conversations. You want to have those proper conversations with your loved ones, but they sort of get get the inside scoop before you get told the official news, or you get told the truth, or you get told what the situation looks like.
That's a good point, Jimmy. I woke up this morning to my phone call from my manager, and then my partner could see, because I was a bit confused on it all. My partner could see, and she come and sat down. She's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I think I'm off to the bunnies, eh? I think we're gonna have to move." Like, and like, so obviously she didn't get any time to prepare for that, like news, and then like it's just gonna be it's just all shit for everyone around you that they have to read that, and they've just not had and they've just got to they're expected to just get up and ship with you. You know what I mean? Imagine if it was going to camera or something.
I know, but then I guess in that situation you'd have control over that as well. Which is the way the current setup is players can control where they go mid-season, even though they can make it really hard for you, make it sort of push you out the door and make you feel like you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
You know what, Charlie? You do have autonomy in it, but it doesn't feel like you do.
Right.
No.
And
I don't feel like I do now.
Right. Like I was in that position where I genuinely felt like I didn't have much control over this, and things were happening. And you're left with maybe one or two options, and one of those that maybe one of those options that is staying with your parent club, it's not going to be how it used to be, if that makes sense. You're not choosing the option of the years that you've enjoyed there. You're being presented with, okay, well, if you stay, then this is what it's going to look like. And it's not how it used to be. And people, because I get that argument, well, just dig your heels in and just stay.
Yeah.
If only it was that easy.
Yeah.
And even that, when you're feeling love from one area and not from the other. Like, yeah, we're passionate about the clubs that we play for, and relationships will get fractured, and you make up and then you fall out again. But ultimately, if one football club that you enjoy playing for, or you've certainly enjoyed playing for in the past, if they're not giving you any love and they're telling you that this is what the situation is going to be like if you stay, versus I've got another club that are rolling out the red carpet, telling me that, you know, you're gonna be one of our. We're really looking forward to having you play here, and all this, which is exactly what's happening with Cheese now. Like, he's been told by one club basically, no, we don't particularly want you anymore. Versus South, who are going, no, we want you for the next few years, and we want you now. Like, they're presenting an avenue to him to say, you get to us, we might just make finals.
Yep. And I heard, Cheese, you don't have to answer if you don't want, but I heard the Chooks in the last couple of days told you that you're going to play reserve grade for the rest of the year if you do come back as well.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think so. I think they told my manager that. But I was just, I don't know, I guess I didn't know if they were real words or empty words.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's strange, that one, though. Like, it's strange.
It's a hard one.
Because like, if you're Roosters...
I want to dig my teeth in. When I heard that news, I felt like I want to dig my teeth in.
Yeah.
I'll fucking get paid $900,000 to sit in the reserve grade. I don't care. But now, it is not the point.
Yeah.
Now I feel like shit.
Because the thing is, I feel like for the Roosters, they're still in the finals hunt. And like having someone like Cheese, why would you make such put a line through it and say you're going to play reserve grade when
the same with Dom Young as well.
Yeah,
like he's not making their best 17 now, but like what they're one injury away. Which, geez, if there's a club that have suffered from injuries in the past 3 to 5 years, it's the Roosters. Like, you know, for as well as Mark Nwangani-Tawase is playing, Daniel Tupou is playing, Billy Smith back in, Robert Toyer. Like, maybe there's your starting five, or with Tedesco at the back as well, there's your starting five back line. But, like, one goes down.
Yeah.
Who comes in? It probably also, just thinking ahead on the Dom Young, the fact that the Roosters are going to let him go, maybe they don't think Tedesco's going to be playing State of Origin.
Yeah,
you know, because if they were going to do that, maybe they'd move Nwangani-Tawase into fullback, then Dom Young comes onto the wing.
Yeah,
I think maybe within that camp they've gone, he's not going to be playing. Maybe they've got, maybe they've got official word that he's not going to feature in Origin.
Yeah, it's probably even a luxury they don't need as well, Dom Young. And they've got this chance to offload him. I think, Jimmy, it's less about maybe Tedesco, but more about what they got planned for the next couple of years with recruitment. And you know, a player who I think they might have a big crack at that no one's talking about is Tino Fasul-Malaawi. And Titans fans are probably like, what? He signed with us for 10 years. Well, no, he's not. He's got actually a player option in 2027, 28, 29, 30, 31. So he can opt out every single one of those years. So what that means is if he opts out for that first option, well, he's a free agent from November 1 and can sign with the Roosters for 2027.
Yeah. Look, you go, well, why would you clear the decks now? I'm pretty sure, like I'd need confirmation on this. You can do some juggling in terms of if you've got players contracted, you can front load them or back load them. And what you would do by clearing money for season 2025 is then you could say to someone who's on contract for 26, 27, 28, we're going to take why don't we sit down and go, let's take some money from your deal in 26 or in 27 and put it into season 2025's contract and front load you your money, which from a playing point of view, you have that money now, like any investor would know, well, time in the market, you'd pay that on your offset on your mortgage. You go like, why wouldn't you take that deal? That really advantages the player as opposed to those back-ended deals, which people go, well, hang on a minute. In 3 or 4 years' time, that extra money, I could have been using that now. So it makes financial sense for any player, if this is allowed to happen, to get that money in like now.
Yeah. And I could see that happening for sure. And that could be the case because they've obviously got Reece Robson coming next year, but DCE's the other one as well. Like that's, by all accounts, a done deal. Well, everyone says it's a done deal.
I don't think, for DCE, I don't think they need to clear cap space. I think they would have enough in their cap. I don't think they're panicking and shuffling the deck chairs in terms of releasing Dom Young because Cheese was already off. So, like for like swap
with Robson.
Robson comes in, takes over Cheese's spot, right? But I don't think they need to move many players on in order to fit DCE in.
Depends what they're paying him. It depends if DCE is getting that $1 million that he wants. Like if DCE wanted $1 million a year, if he's getting that, then they might have had to move things around a little bit to fit him in. I also
think they need to start re-signing as well because they've got 2 players at the moment that are playing unbelievable, like Nafahu White.
Yeah, he's going to get big money.
If he goes to an open market, he's getting big money.
100%.
So I reckon they're going to try re-sign him quickly, snap him up while he's hot. And Blake Steep, he's 19 years old and he's scoring 50-metre runaway tries. So
Robert Toyer looks like a star as well. So they got some young players.
Yeah,
Sam Walker's getting upgraded. They've got a lot of stuff they need to lock down for a long time.
Yeah, the player transfer market. I actually spoke with Laurie Daly, which is coming out this Sunday. Great episode. Was saying about how all the transfer news has dominated the headlines and how like it will dial down and we'll start talking about Origin. That was literally yesterday, like literally yesterday. And within the 24-hour news cycle, who's getting picked where is no longer dominating like the makeup of or the fullback of New South Wales, the back line, who's a smoky for Queensland. It's just not going to be spoken about. The transfer market is, and even ourselves, Charlie, talking about this show, how it's going to look. Dom Young, Brandon Smith, David Fifita, it's been announced that he's getting shopped around, which just everything that's going on there. And especially when you consider the options that Tino has. Strange actions from a football club.
Do you think Fifita's the right sort of player for Dez's style of coaching?
Who is the right coach for a player like Fifita though?
Well, under Holbrook, he excelled. Now, again, I've never been coached by Justin Holbrook, but the people within the game would. Have you been coached by Justin Holbrook before?
He's my coach now.
He is your coach now. Well, what type of coach is he? I guess being an assistant.
I would say he's a laid back sort of. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about,
Yeah.
but like he comes across as you're more inclined to go approach him.
Yeah.
Than Robbo. Like he's a very approachable guy.
And I think that certain types of players are suited to certain types of coaches, and sometimes they clash. And it's not the first time we've seen a high quality player at his best, which David Fifita is. I think it was 2023. He was back rower of the year or second rower of the year at the Dally M's. I think I'm correct in saying that. And he had this barnstorming season where I imagine as an edge back rower, David was given instructions. The instructions he would have been given are very limited. Just go out there and do your destructive best. He wouldn't have been bogged down in the detail, which, look, I know Des thrives on detail and passing on his knowledge and experience and opposition game plans. You need to be completely across, and there'd be certain criteria about types of run that you'd want to do.
That's worked well at the Titans, all that.
I just wonder if there's been a clash of philosophy, a clash of personality in the mix there with David Fifita and Des Hazard. But then you go back 12 months, and why did the Titans fight so hard to keep him? And why did David Fifita make the decision to stay? Like that because David's not changed since then, and Des hasn't changed since then, and neither were going to.
Maybe it was just not wanting to lose to the Roosters and not wanting to lose a player of that caliber.
Maybe. It just... And maybe this is the push from Des to keep his job, that he's probably likely feeling the heat. Where he's been in this... I'm thinking back to the end of the regime at the Bulldogs there, where he probably felt that heat coming and maybe didn't act quick enough, where there's probably a little bit of runway there for Des to... Because of the lack of scrutiny on the Titans, I'm just thinking there's a bit of runway there. If I act now and act fast, I can save this. I can just about save this.
Or it can go the other way, and the owners go, "You can't. You a highest paid player. You don't know how to get the best out of him."
It could go that way. It could go, but I think just trying to figure this one out. Des is trying to figure out how to get this plane off the ground at the Titans, and the runway's running out. And we know there's obviously there's two extra teams coming in, so there's coaching jobs available, but he wants to keep that job. And there's a number of coaches that would be desperate to get their hands on that job. Obviously, it's a Queensland club. There's people that want to stay in Queensland and coach up there. Like, there's some strong candidates that would already be starting to have an eye on having their agents or people that represent them sort of sound that out. What's the situation looking like? If you do go in a different directions Titans, just let us know because we'd be happy to take her.
Yeah. Do you reckon that those sorts of candidates are like coaches with their looking for their last chance saloon? Because if I was an up and coming coach, I wouldn't want the Titans job. No one, every single person's at Fair's failed every single time.
Yeah, I'm not going to coach them anytime soon. I hope not.
You know what, Charlie, though, but all coaches are wired up differently and they all believe in themselves and they all back themselves in any situation to be able to turn it around. They'd all look at that and go, what a wonderful opportunity, which it is.
Yeah.
Is it though?
I
don't think it is personally.
I agree with you.
It's a club that has like very limited fans. Limited.
Jason Rolls did go. He did do that for Para,
Yeah.
which is
But Para is such a big club, even though they haven't, like, and they, they made a grand final a couple of years ago. They got guys like Mitch Moses there, like the Titans. They've got some good young players, Jaden Campbell and Tino's there, but Tino's on the way, potentially could be on the way out. Fifita obviously is maybe on the way out as well. Like,
if he's being shopped, I find it.
well, Tino's being shopped.
No, it's David Fifita.
Yeah, I reckon it's difficult to see Fifita playing again under Des after all this that's happened and that report of I want to play left edge. Well, okay, you can play left edge in reserve grade. And now with the ankle injury, even how David's relationship with Des would have been fractured due to the fact that he spoke to the media about it. Des would hate that. Like, he would be reading that article and blowing a gasket. Like, think about the sequences of events from last week where he's moved the Titans press conference to before the announcement so he wouldn't be quizzed on it. So he's trying to keep a lid on it. And then you've got not breaking ranks, but David Fifita doesn't have to speak to Peter Bedell.
No, of course not.
He's not like, that's not a necessary thing, but to him to pick up that phone and go, yeah, I'm going to talk to you. And I've got no qualms with the player doing that.
Neither.
But in terms of what it does to that relationship with the type of coach that Des is, he's not like that doesn't bode well for them two together.
Yeah, Des is quite worried about leaks, I think, already, and maybe factions turning on him at the Titans as well, because the news also got out, not from Fifita, but that the reason he was dropped was because he said to Des Hasley he wanted to play on the left edge, and Des Hasley said, yep, sweet, you're playing left edge in reserve grade.
Yeah. And look, David Fifita is too good to be playing reserve grade. And when I look back at the Titans season, the easy option for Des is to just throw him on the bench and let him play 20 minutes, half an hour.
Yeah.
Be an impact forward. I think, again, in terms of like the type of player that Fifita is, he's always going to be hamstrung and handicapped by that price tag that he carries. Like, he's as any player that gets $1 million a year in this year's in the way the cap is at the moment is going to get scrutinized and I think he probably lived up to a very good price tag in 2023, but the recent years he hasn't. And what are the factors of that injury at fault? Like, yeah, but the fact is he's on $1 million a year, which is going to be a talking point.
Yeah, I reckon a ton of clubs will be in for him at like a cup price.
I don't think. I just think the Titans mismanaged sort of their roster, to be honest with you. Like, they missed Toby Sexton.
Yeah,
They he was obviously a good player. They had him in and out of first grade, and now look at him how he's going. They've got 3 fullbacks playing as their spine. They don't really have a genuine 7, genuine 6.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I would like to see them with foreign in their team and Keanu Keeney. They're not a team that can afford 2 out their spine, but sometimes 3 out their first choice spine missing, which I don't even think they know what it is.
But even when everyone was there last year, they weren't going that well under Des. I reckon Des's days are numbered at the Gold Coast. I know you love him, but I reckon.
But I'm saying, well, maybe he's thinking my days are numbered, so I need a big play to get the.
It's not going to work though. I don't think. I think Des is in trouble. Let's go to the footy side of things, though.
Not the biggest Des fan over there.
No, I just think that's the reality. I don't know Des at all. But I want to ask you about this, Cheese. Ezra Mam didn't get picked for the Broncos. He's going to be playing in reserve grade, first game back. He's been out for 270 days since his last NRL game because he missed the last 4 rounds of the season and obviously suspended for the first 9 games this year. Is that the right move to bring him in reserve grade?
Yeah, absolutely. In my opinion, I would have kept Neil all year if I was coach. But yeah, I think it's more of an injury thing as well. Like, you can't just expect someone to be out for that long. I think like Sammy Walks will go straight into reserve grade after his injury.
Yeah, right. Yep.
You reckon Walker will go to reserve grade?
Yeah.
For a couple of weeks?
Yeah, he'll get 2 games. Really? Yeah, 1 to 2 games. He wants to.
See, it's probably...
But that one's also relative to how well they're going. I'm guessing if we need to win the last 9 games, he's probably going to play. But yeah, like, it's an injury thing. It's just, you can't have that long out and just go straight back into the big boy seat.
See, I reckon if you're coming back from injury, I get it. But I think that's a massive luxury with the Broncos. Because he's been suspended, like, he'd be doing live ball all the time. Like, he'd be getting put through the ringer. It's not like he needs to pass any sort of return to play protocol. Like, you know, if you have a knee injury, a shoulder injury, it's like, hey, do this. For me, I look at this as a ban extension.
Yeah, so do I. Like, I just see, like, it might be Michael Maguire going, you've served your legitimate time, but you still have to earn the respect of the teammates and myself to earn your spot back in the team. See,
I don't know. I just think this is a ban extension because even with like how this next sort of month of football comes up, and you speak about risk of injury, they play Souths this week, then the Dragons. They got a bye, 2 more games, then another bye. Like, for me, get Ezra Mam in your team, or are they just basically waiting for the origin period? So then the whole decision about who plays where becomes easier. We're going to assume that Ben Hunt finds himself in that 14 role for Queensland, which is not guaranteed by any stretch, but maybe they're just trying to wait and just see about how the land lies with that origin selection, so they don't have to make the crunch call now on where he play on who's the fall guy for Ezra coming back in. Because
Harry Grant is still out. Like, this weekend he's not playing, so the teams get named after round 11. So after next week. So if Harry Grant's not playing, then like Ben Hunt could be the hooker, not just 14. He could be the starting number 9 for Queensland. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which then opens up the door for Ezra to return there. It just. It takes the pressure off Maguire because he doesn't have to have those difficult level of conversation. Yeah. Speaking of Origin, and obviously you interviewed Laurie Daly. That's coming out Sunday, is it, Jimmy? This Sunday, yes. Sunday. Charlie, you're asking me like you don't know. I don't know when it's coming out. You're the guy that pushes the buttons on when it comes out, my friend, not me. Or maybe ask Tony if it's coming out on Sunday. I don't look after the... I was just setting you up to promote it. That's what I was doing. Just called it like a little alley-oop. And all you have to do is just dunk it. And instead you've grabbed the ball, thrown it in my face. Yeah, well, just... Really, you should have said, mate, it's coming out this Sunday. How pumped are you for it? Laurie Daly, what did he talk about? Did he give any scoops? Should I do it again then? Yeah, mate. No, well done. We're going to keep that keep it all in. Yeah, we'll keep it all in. You actually do that a lot. What? The coming out Sunday? Like, it's a question that you don't know the answer to. Yeah, because what it is, guys, is it's just me showing some like sensibilities to the audience and understanding that they might not know. So, hey, here's a chance to let them know. We've already brought it up in the show that Laurie Daly's coming out on Sunday. Yeah, nice. Well, just a reminder. You obviously weren't paying attention. Well, I sometimes half listen to podcasts, half do other stuff. So that was for maybe the 20% of the audience that weren't paying close attention. There's no way a buy-round listener is half in. Do you reckon they're all in? I reckon they're all in. You know what? In fact, I was at the gym yesterday, and I walked past, and this guy goes, I'm just listening to you now. It's great stuff. I'm like, yes. He wasn't half in. He's all in.
He was pausing it when he was doing his reps, and then he'd go back to it.
Well, that's a bit over the top. You don't need to pause. But what is it? So you got no sound for your reps. Like, shouldn't you listen to? Also, I'm not a big podcast at the gym guy.
Really?
Music. Are you a podcast at the gym guy?
I'm a podcast and a run guy. I don't listen to music when I'm lifting weights.
No, really.
No.
Wow.
Silence. Just my own thoughts. I'm thinking about ideas.
What are you thinking about during the 8 reps of chest press that you do?
Oh, they just bounce around. You don't, mate. You know what? I'm a bit anti headphones on. Like, there's things that annoy me about public gyms, like people not putting their weights away, which you get instilled into you as a footballer. Like the words of our Bulldogs coach Harry Harris, Matty Daniels at St Helens: put your weights away. That's what we do.
Jeez, I thought you were going to come up with a nicer quote than that. That was more just a statement.
It was.
And the great words
of James Graham, put your weights away. Like, if you ever left them out, he'd bake you.
Yeah.
But the modern day, you need your earphones to lift. There's already music in the gym, and have some valuable thinking time. And that thinking time can be complemented by the background. We think about ideas and issues in the
Absolutely.
game.
You brought up not using headphones. That reminded me of your behaviour in Magic Round, which was horrific time after time during Magic Round. But one of the things that you did was you were sitting there watching in a public area, watching the footy on your phone, like full volume on your phone.
Yeah, that's a big no-no.
That's a big no-no.
My missus watches TikToks on the couch on full volume.
Yeah.
It's horrific.
Can I hold my hand up? I was wrong.
Yeah.
And that is disgraceful.
Yeah.
Anybody out there that plays things loudly, I find super offensive. And you know what I was thinking about, the boombox culture?
Yeah.
And it's all like this loud music. You know what I'd do? If I was like, I'd love to have my time back, I'd bring another boombox and play like the podcast that I like to listen to, like Ricky Gervais. So you've got this, the Ricky Gervais show, the Ricky Gervais, like screw you.
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to your tripe. I want to listen to what I want to do.
Yeah.
And
was there a boombox culture at the Dogs and Dragons when you were playing there?
they're like a loudest, not a boombox, but like a stereo of sorts.
Like Josh Reynolds with the speaker, blast some tunes.
Just on the back of the bus. Like, do we all need to listen to this?
Yeah.
Like,
Edo cars like that, and it's putrid music.
Yeah.
It's just
Like hard style.
Yeah, hard style. Like,
I'm a hard style reaver with
you know
the
what?
motherfucking
You know what
flavour.
stops it? Just bring in another boombox with more aggressive tunes on. So I'm just going to drown you out.
Yeah, good idea.
It actually happened to me on a plane not long ago. There was a lady on there just listening to her show. And I did, but obviously you pointed out that I was listening to the football. I instantly turned it off, and I was obviously not focusing. A lady had it on, and it was in a different language she was listening to.
Yeah, that's no go.
Yeah.
I think they're both the same though. It doesn't matter about the language. It's more like the loud noise.
Yeah. Anyway, we digress. I messed up. What we're talking about again? Laurie Daly coming out this Sunday.
Great
yes,
chat.
You're right. Yeah. If you push the release button, that's when it comes out.
Yeah, so Sunday 4 a.m. wherever you get your podcast, and then 7 p.m. on YouTube.
Tony gives you the thumbs up.
Oh, didn't
Was that-
sound
was that a
confident
quote?
then.
That was
I didn't actually know 100% when it came on YouTube, but there we go. 7 p.m. Sunday, one of the great chats. He talks a bit about some of the origin selection dilemma. Is there anything you took out of that we can tease for Sunday?
What did I take out of it? I think, all being well, I think Jake Teborovich plays.
Captain gets picked for game one.
That's what I think. I asked him about a few different things, but I guess the feel that I got from it is Jakey Teborovich plays.
Do you know that's the right call? Play Jakey, game one?
over who?
Well, the other middles would probably be Payne Haas, Mitch Barnett, and Spencer Leniu. Does that sound right, Jimmy?
Yep. And you got room for one more, maybe two more.
But back rowers, no?
Yeah, probably back rowers.
Because you have a 14, you have Connor Watson as your 14 probably, the way he's going.
Yeah, you'd probably go 14, another edge back rower. And then, two middles.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yo at 13.
Maybe Hudson Young, who could play in the middle a little bit. Yeah.
He's got to be in the team.
Jake does? Or Young?
Young. Oh, I don't know about Jake. He hasn't played very good so far, but he's the incumbent captain, isn't he? So
Yeah. I think the dilemma is Jake Trbojevic and Terrell May. That's the two that one of those is going to get that spot.
Yeah, so I would lean towards Terrell May, but
So I think Terrell May is playing better, and he's arguably the best forward in the comp for what he does for the Tigers. But the role that's going to be required for him at State of Origin isn't. He just doesn't need to play like he does at the Tigers.
Yeah,
because he's already you're not going to take that spot from Payne Haas. Then you probably need someone that can just do 20 minutes, which is Jake. Do you know what I mean? Or like a impact player Lenu off the bench. It just the unfortunate thing for May is it's that role that he does for Clubland is probably not needed. And maybe the conversation is, well, May, can you do us? We need 15 minutes from you.
Yeah.
Can you adapt? Can he adapt his game to just give? If everything goes to plan,
it's never a bad idea to have an 80-minute prop on the bench.
It may.
If he gets put on, he can easily
set
set you a 60 minutes then if someone gets injured.
Yeah.
And the HIA rates in Origin are always very high. I think about the last few years, how many HIAs there have been in Origin.
They are.
Simbin rate's not great.
Send-off rates as well for Joe Suwali.
Yeah. One guy that won't be playing Origin, Jacob Preston. Yeah. Oh, dear.
I thought you were a bit over the top, if I'm going to be honest. I thought you were a bit over the top.
Why? How so?
Because it's nothing to do with the charge being 3 weeks. It's his third offence. So if it was his first offence, he'd be getting a $1,500 fine. If it was his second offence, he'd be getting a $2,000 fine. It's his third offence, so it's 3 weeks with the early guilty plea, 4 weeks if he gets found guilty. He got found guilty, tried to fight it, got 4 weeks.
Yeah, so, it's... I don't see how something can jump from a monetary fine to a monetary fine to a 3-week suspension for if you fight and lose it. That is a strange degree increase of punishment, in my opinion. But again, I think we've lost track of what a crusher tackle actually is.
You didn't think it was a crusher at all?
Not in the traditional sense of why we outlawed that style of tackle. Is there like a slight pressure on the head? But again, it goes back to the high contact stuff. And like what circumstance? In my opinion, Jacob Preston makes a conscious decision to maneuver his arm to avoid the traditional sense crusher tackle.
Do you reckon though, sorry to go back, but you know how we'll be talking about the fine system?
Yeah.
Is it maybe make the case in that clubs should just fight that fine? Because it's only if you get found guilty, it's like a $500 increase. You may as well fight every fine and hope you get off.
Well, Charlie, you are right. And I reckon there's a reluctancy to fight those charges that come with a fine. In fact, I don't know if there's actually ever been.
Yeah, there was one earlier this year. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head, but a club fought the fine.
Right. Yeah. Well, it should happen more often because obviously this is the end result. And I can't recall those two previous incidences from Preston, but mate, in terms of it
is rough having to sit out for 4 weeks for a grade 1 charge. The time does not fit the crime.
Yeah. And mate, look, I think we've spoke about high tackles and we've had a bit of a re-collaboration on what that does and doesn't look like in terms of the punishment. But that incident that Tino and Jacob Preston and another Bulldogs tackle were involved in, it's not dangerous. It's not. And Tino did seem fine straight after it. Like it just... But you know what? Sometimes you just hold your hand up and go, whatever.
Yeah, he's out for 4 weeks anyway.
He's out for 4 weeks, which is undeserved.
It's laughable, to be fair.
Yeah.
For what that tackle is, 4 weeks is
undeserved. And people go, well, it's the build-up. It's not this particular event. I get that, but it's just laughable. It really is.
Half Ezra Mam's one.
Yeah, it is. That's insane, isn't it?
That's insane.
That's insane when you think about it like that. Ezra Mam nearly kills someone. Jacob Preston gets someone in an awkward position, gets half the punishment.
I wonder if the Bulldogs will bring back Jacob Preston in reserve grade. He just needs to get used to, you know, the feel is way back in. Yeah.
Just before we preview the round, obviously everyone expects Brad Arthur to be the coach of the Bears, but there's this little push happening behind the scenes.
Graham.
Not for James Graham, but for his old sparring partner, Sammy Burgess, to be the coach of the Bears. A couple of the reasons, Perth needs a star to bring headlines and drive media attention in Perth. Brad Arthur is probably the most dull man in rugby league, you could argue. He's very straight, very boring. Whereas Sammy Burgess will get headlines. People in Perth actually know who Sam Burgess is as well. He was on SAS, which was televised across Australia. He's also that controversialist character that, you know, got lots of headlines where he's playing, an absolute legend of the game. Do you reckon he could be a better man to bring the Perth franchise some success?
I think if from pure coaching, like Sam doesn't have a wealth of experience yet. And I think on pure coaching, just even going on the Super League alone, I think there's some stronger candidates there. For example, Matthew Peat at Wigan, that's been successful.
But boring. Who is Matthew Peat?
Okay. Well, this if you just actually hear me out, I'm making some comments around pure coaching. Also, Willie Peters at Hull KR on pure, you exactly. It'd be the same category as Brad Arthur. It'd be the same as a Jason Demetriou.
It wouldn't even be the same category as Brad Arthur. Who the hell is Willie Peters?
Yeah.
He's an Australian-based coach that's gone over to Hull KR and completely changed that club, and they're now up and about the top end of the Super League when they were down near the bottom. Tim Sheens was there, or he was moving there, and they were in the £1 million game fighting for relegation. So that's my point in terms of pure coaching, Matthew Peat or Willie Peters.
We'll get Willie Peters as an assistant coach.
Just hear me out. I'm saying pure coaching.
Yes.
Pure coaching, you bring those people in. But the star attraction would be Sam Burgess. That's the point I'm making. Because if you look at Warrington's results, yes, they're in a Challenge Cup semi-final, but they're not. They're 5-5 after 10 games. So for pure, what does that say? But Sam would bring more to the organisation. However, for Sam's longevity in coaching, does he make that move early? Because if you go to Perth and it's not successful, what's your next move? And every coach or every young aspiring coach, and especially a person like Sam, would be thinking, what's my potential next move? That's why he's gone to Warrington. That is with a view of his next move being come back to Australia. Same with Willie Peters. He's gone over to the Super League. Brad Arthur did the same thing. They've gone. Next move is back to the NRL.
Yeah.
They're thinking ahead.
Sam wants the job, though.
We were just talking about this with the Gold Coast, weren't we?
Yeah, about how the Gold Coast aren't a good gig.
Yeah, he wouldn't want it.
Well, so again, with Perth, I think Sam has said he wants it, but I think he'd need to look at it in more depth.
But you know what?
Because everyone wants it.
You know what? He'd also be perfect. Like a lot of people, obviously Benji's been really bagged for his coaching, but one thing he's been really good at is recruitment and the players he's been able to build because of the character he is and how, you know, famous he is in the game and players always looked up to him. Sam Burgess is of that same ilk where like players would want to play for him. And that helps when recruiting.
Well, exactly. That was the point I was alluding to, the ability to bring people in to the Perth franchise. Sam is like a generational player.
Yeah.
He'd be able to bring people in. We look at the markets that Perth are going to have to look to tap into, likely the Super League. Sam, any young English player, the opportunity to be coached by Sam, similar to the Benji with Jerome Luai. He's my idol. Sam would have that same pull with young English players.
For the Poms as well, it's a one-leg flight now to Perth as well in Qantas. It's like a 16-hour flight or something like that. So that's but that's not too bad.
It's not
too bad. It's better than flying from Sydney. 8 hours better.
Well, you've still got to hang on. People come from the north. You've got to get down to London. Then you got to fly over to, mate.
It's not as bad. It's a little bit better. But in all honesty, though, for Perth to be successful, they need
speculator right there.
For Perth to be successful, they need a headline creator. They need someone who the local media can get behind. And like, I don't know, personally, I think Sam Burgess is like the perfect coach for it.
So I think the overall package, I think it would suit Sam Burgess and everything he would bring to that organisation, that franchise. He'd bring a lot.
Because Brad Arthur going on a local radio station or a local TV station over there isn't going to be very interesting.
But Sam Burgess is exciting. That's what he would bring.
Should we preview the round?
Might as well, Charlie.
First game, Eels Dolphins. Who do you boys like?
Oh man, this is a strange game, and we've had some. I want to say the Dolphins, but I'm losing trust in them with some of their performances. Sometimes it's their middle. Sometimes that they fall short in, but I think they've got the wood over Parasite middle. They do move the ball around a little bit more. I just worry. Yeah, I'm worried for the Dolphins.
No Jerry Marshall-King for them as well, the Dolphins. He's back out with that leg.
I think the Eels should get the victory.
Cheese?
I hate this season, man. It's impossible to pick a winner. But I'll go the Eels as well.
It's so hard, this one. It is.
That's a
genuine hard game.
And I think as well, Para would be looking at this as a game to get themselves off the bottom of the table. Like, they're on 2 wins. They're at home to another team that's got a poor record. I think the Dolphins are now 3-6. I think they'd be looking at this as like, we've got to get this scalp. I think they'd be really highly motivated to get this scalp to get them off the bottom, because opportunities like this aren't going to be around every single week.
They're 3-6 and they've beaten the Storm, Penrith, and who's their other winner? I think I can't remember off the top of my head, but some good wins for the Dolphins. Friday, 6 p.m, Knights, Titans. Big game for the Titans. Another lot. Like, they get pumped by Newcastle, then the pressure continues to build for Des.
Yeah, I'm going to back the Titans in this one, because take out last week, I think for the Knights to be favourites, I think we're reacting too much from that win against a South Sydney team that was battling. So I'm going to back the Titans in this one. Not that anything before that said the Titans would win, but I just think
this is another baffling game.
Yeah, I just think the Titans
started line up of shit.
Yeah, so cut that out. Where do you think it goes, Cheese?
Does Dom Young sign with the Knights by then?
No, he won't play. No, he won't be playing then.
Wow. Then I'll go.
Just for the interest, on Ladbrokes, $1.48 favourites, the Knights.
I saw that. I think that's generous based off one game. The
I'm going to go the Titans because they have to win eventually.
Again, this is another one of those where
they've got to win.
It's almost in that spoony battle of
big time.
And like the first game, it's almost in that, right, we need to get the win here because we take points off our spoon rival.
Oh, big time. These are two teams that are going to be thereabouts.
Titans for me.
I hope it's not raining, then it could be a real sort of... it is potentially raining on Friday. Next game then, Rabbitohs Broncos. Latrell's back. He's also captaining the Bunnies. And Jamie Humphries is back, which is a big in for them. So Sullivan and Humphries are your halves. A few other changes. So Totola's actually been dropped. Tavita Totola. And then in the middle, they've now got Kaloa Matangi and Jai Arrow in the middle. On the edges, they've got Ewan Aitken and Tallis Duncan. And then starting lock is Hubner, who is actually a really good player, Hubner.
He's a good player.
He's a really good player.
Yeah.
It's impressive that you remembered all that.
Yeah, well done.
Thanks. I actually thought that
wasn't
myself.
even written down.
I was actually patting myself on the back for remembering that as well in my head.
Yeah. Look, just obviously we've spoken about a lot of transfer and a lot of movement. I think with Lewis Dodd not being picked again, like, where's his pathway to first grade? I think he needs to get out of South. I really do.
But Jimmy, no NRL club's going to take him.
Why would the Dragons not take him? That need a 7.
I reckon they maybe would have their eyes on other 7s down the track. Remember, it's a 3-year deal. So you then got him for 2026 and 27. And in 27, that's when Luke Metcalf's available. That's
Yeah.
when Jerome Hughes is available.
But I think like I know Lewis Dodd can play. He just can't get. He's been given a couple of 20-minute cameos when things have been bad.
It wasn't his fault on Magic Round. He played 80 at Magic Round, obviously.
Yeah, but against like he wasn't working with much.
No.
It's hard to see the Broncos not having a very strong response, and they do that. The Broncos, they can be in and out. Compare their game over in New Zealand versus the one at home against the Dogs 5 days later. I think Maguire's really good at igniting quick responses, and against the Bunnies, they with the middles that the Broncos have, they should be a tough night for Bunnies middles and Cheese's new team.
I think the Bunnies are going to roll them.
Yeah. Glory to South Sydney.
Why do you have to sign for the team that I hate the most? Jeez. I made a call. We use South Sydney for all they're worth, get them pumped up for Easter, and then them go into free fall. And then you have to go and sign for them. So
My bad, James.
they're my 60th.
You shouldn't be
least.
biased on this podcast, right?
They're my
You can't have a
16th
favourite
least.
team.
You know what's interesting as well that you say that, Cheese? So when we actually started the buy round, Jimmy's like, let's call it the buy round because we've got no team. Like we're not supporting any team. We're, what's the word?
is that the-
Unbiased. Got no game. We're unbiased. And then we have the most biased Bulldogs man I've ever met in my life. So you lied to me.
Okay, well, let's see.
And yeah, if Lewis Dodd was a Kiwi, would you be pumping up his tyres as much?
Gingers first. Here's the hierarchy if needs. Gingers, English people,
Yep.
Bulldogs.
Dragons then after or Dragons?
Oh, actually, I should put my old team. I forgot to mention St. Helens Crusaders up there. They're pretty high on the on that hierarchy.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And what about Everton? Where does Everton fit in that?
Oh, fell a bit of love.
Have you?
Yeah, it's hard being a blue.
I've got a Crusaders jersey. There's an 8-year-old, but I swapped for him.
Like the St. Helens Crusaders?
This time, yeah.
Not you wouldn't have a St. Helens Crusaders.
No, they're called the Crusaders, but
And I obviously got the number 3.
Was
That
it
is my
England?
jersey. I did play a bit of centre back in the day.
must be a Union jersey.
No, it's
Oh,
genuinely in the centres. Number 3. Thought I was shit hot, but
Did ya?
I was just shit.
Orange boots on as well. Orange hair, orange boots.
You know what? I did wear the Nikes, the
Taluses.
Taluses. Yeah.
Saturday, 3 p.m. is the match of the round, Jimmy. It's Raiders, the Dogs. Your doggies. Matt Burton's back from suspension.
Huge inclusion. I think the Raiders are favourites.
I think it should be
I
as
hope
well.
the Dogs win, but I think the Raiders will be favourites going into this. I really do.
I agree. Who do I choose? Well, you didn't choose one actually.
No,
I wonder who you're going to choose.
I think take from that what you think. Take from that what you think. I think the Raiders are favourites.
I think the Raiders are in a better position than the Dogs for this season. What do you reckon?
I don't agree with that. I think the Raiders are favourites for this game.
Okay, all right. You're tipping the Dogs. Good stuff.
No,
Jimmy,
I haven't said that. I've said the Raiders are favourites. So take from that. Take from those words whatever you feel you need.
You think
to take.
the Dogs have been disrespected then, do you?
No, I said I think the Raiders will be favourites.
Okay, so you're tipping the Raiders.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Put it like that.
Yeah,
So,
all
okay.
right.
If I was laying a bet, I would go with
Someone
the
screen
favourites.
clip that for us.
If you were laying a bet, you'd go with the favourites. Wouldn't you go with the better value? Oh God! If you want,
Actually, you know what? If I'd be laying a bet on this, I'd be going unders.
Unders, okay.
Unders.
Low
I reckon
scoring
it'll be a
game.
very low scoring game.
Raiders or the Doggies? Cheese.
I'm going to go the Doggies.
Then we go.
You're going to pick the Dogs to beat the Raiders,
Yeah.
and I'm picking the Raiders to beat the Dogs.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
First time you've picked against the Dogs this year.
It's not. I don't always pick what you pick.
Yeah.
All right.
That's crazy. They're paying you and you still pick them. You went against them.
I just said the Raiders will be favourites.
Saturday 5:30, Dragons against the
But
Wars.
I believe the Dogs can win. I actually do believe they can, but the Raiders will be favourites.
Raiders. So you think that you're tipping the Dogs?
No, I'm saying the Raiders are favourites.
Okay.
Raiders are favourites and I believe we can win.
Dragons Warriors Saturday 5:30. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak's back, Jimmy, which is massive, and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck's on the extended bench, so he could be back as well.
You know what? They've got some selection headaches coming their way.
Yeah.
The Warriors in terms of what is their best 17, because the players that have been filling in have been delivering.
Yeah.
And what used to be sort of like these players, you'd be like, who's this guy? It's like, oh, no. Like,
it's good to see.
You know what? It's a big call for the coaching staff there to make, for Andrew Webster to go, like, these lads have come in and they've turned heads.
Yeah. Lauatea dropped out of the team just before kickoff last week, and he's still out this week. He's going to miss a few weeks with an ankle injury as well.
Yeah, what's the center's name?
Ali Lauatea, he's one of them. He's been great. And then the other centre...
Corsi's done well.
Yep, he's done well at times. In the centres this weekend...
Of course, I thought you said, of course, he...
Pompey as well. It's Adam Pompey normally and Lauatea, but Lauatea's out this week. And currently it's Capewell and Pompey named in the centres, but I reckon there's a good chance Roger Tuivasa comes into the centres maybe.
Yeah. Whatever it is, the Warriors, they are like super impressive again. Shout out to all their fans at Magic Round. They were awesome.
You met up with them. Did you speak about that on Monday?
Did you not listen back?
I haven't had a chance. I've had a big week.
Isn't it, Charlie? Yeah, if you'd have been listening, you'd have said that. Big shout out to Richie and all the Wars fans and everything that they do for the game in general. It's hard to see the Dragons being able to cope with the Warriors and the way that they play.
Yeah.
I think that the Warriors will win and quite convincingly.
It's good to see you giving the Warriors a rep on this podcast for once.
I would love to see a second New Zealand team, given how good it is interacting with the Wars fans at Magic Round. If they do bring a 20th team in, and a few years' time after these two new teams come in, it'd be good to see a second New Zealand team.
You just said you'd love it and it'd be good.
Yeah, I'd love it and it would be good. That makes sense, doesn't it?
You know, it'd be nice to see this. It's like,
I love it.
Isn't it great for the game when this team's doing well? Really?
It's true though. It's good for the game when the Dogs are doing well. How good was it last year during finals? The Dogs made finals.
You know what's good for the game?
Yeah.
When the product is awesome. That's what's good for the game. And we don't know who's going to win, which is exactly like it is now.
Yeah, that's true.
Which takes us forward to our next game. I don't know how Penrith, are we trusting them? Do we trust them?
They're playing the Cowboys. Do I trust them? Yeah, I think
because
I do.
they've had a couple of these moments where, 10 rounds in and we've gone, they're back. They've had false dawns this year already. And the Cowboys, a tough away trip, a team that not usually run them quite close when we think about that great Penrith defence, but Cowboys all-out attack. I'm a bit worried for Penrith's defence in this game. Watch them go and win to 0 with me saying.
I think Penrith will win. I think those ends are pretty decent. Mitch Kenny, Brian Tall.
Yeah,
those are pretty good, handy players to get back.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Panthers, but I'm not convinced that they're fully back.
I hope the Panthers are back. I hope they keep winning, because if Panthers make the 8, I think we need one or two more proper contenders in finals
from the bottom side of the.
Oh yeah, also you want to see Penrith someone beat them on their run. If no one knocks them out and they've just missed the 8s, it's lame.
Yeah,
you want to see the new teams come through like a Raiders. Imagine they get them, say week 1 of finals, knock them out. That's the kind of thing you want. I reckon.
You know what, Charlie? You're right. It would be a travesty if nobody knocks out. If the Panthers don't continue this dynasty.
Yeah.
Which is still an if, because I think if they make the 8, by definition, they'll be back in form and be so dangerous. But I don't want them to relinquish their title just by not playing finals. Yeah. The team needs to. You know what? The NRL should make that just a rule. If you do 4 in a row, if you do 2 in a row, you've got an automatic spot in next year's final.
Yeah, top 8 guaranteed.
Or even Champions League. If you win the Champions League, even though you might not be part of the qualification for your domestic form, I think you hold a spot. Wouldn't that be great?
It'd be great. It's also you see that in the Europa League. So Tottenham and Man United are right down the bottom relegation zone, but they're probably going to make time of recording, they might have both lost their semis terribly in the second leg, but they're probably going to both make the final of the Europa League. It's going to be a playoff for a Champions League spot, basically.
Yeah. I reckon that's something we should. We can't have Penrith just limping out.
Yeah.
But Penrith for me in this one.
Sunday Arvo, Storm Tigers. Not much to talk about from a team side of it, but Storm going to be tough for the Tigers.
It is very tough job down there. Storm still figuring themselves out. They're not the same team without Harry Grant, but they should certainly have enough.
I agree with Jimmy. I think the Storm will win.
Great analysis, boys. Good stuff. Sunday Seagulls, Sharks. Jake Travojevic back from that HIA. Saab's back in the team as well. Will they have too much for the Sharks, Jimmy?
Yeah, they should do. You know what is kind of annoying, bit of a bugbear? These teams only played, 4 weeks ago in Perth? It's like they played each other, then there's been 3 games, and then they play each other again. Like, really? I don't know. I think that's disappointing. But for me, Manly, off the back of a bye as well, Cronulla have been doing a lot of travelling. And even though it's just up to Brisbane and back, they've got to travel to Manly. I think the Manly Seagulls should have enough and win that energy battle from what is quite a tired Sharks team.
Cheese, do you agree with Jimmy?
Agree with Jimmy.
Great analysis again from Brandon Smith.
What about you, Charlie? Where do you see the Battle of the Beaches going?
Battle of the Beaches, I think the Sharkies win. I think Manly are still a bit distracted and affected by DCE ditching his club that he stayed his whole career at to go join the cashed up Sydney Roosters. Which I don't think he's copped enough flack for as well.
I think that the DCE stuff, the full fallout will come when his new club is confirmed. Because let's not forget, it's not been that long ago where it's like, won't I play next year? And if he signs with the Roosters for next year before round 15.
Yeah. See, I heard it was going to get announced shortly after Magic Round, but now I'm thinking I reckon they'll get through Origin.
Yeah,
and announce it after Origin.
They hold it back because with that narrative of I don't even know if I'm going to play again. Like if a deal's already been done, that's a bit of a
so come on, be genuine.
But or if he moved to the Dolphins, where it's that like
he's not going to the Dolphins.
Well, that would be
he's going to the Roosters.
Well, if he goes to the Roosters, I think the fallout from Manly is a bit more significant.
Yeah,
but
good show, boys.
Jeez, I hope he doesn't go to the Roosters.
Yeah.
All the best, cheese, for the next couple of weeks.
Thank you.
Or the next couple of days, even.
I'm looking forward to the next couple of hours.
Yes. Please keep us posted. And okay.
I've actually got a press conference tomorrow.
Clause in your contract, you do have a press conference tomorrow. Okay. Well, that's
what time?
10 o'clock, I think.
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, okay.
We'll be all tuning into that one, and then...
Well, things have changed while the podcast has been on. At the start of it, nothing confirmed. Now, the end of it, press conference tomorrow at 10.
Press conference tomorrow at 10. We'll be tuning to that.
By the time you're watching this, it's probably already happened, the press conference. You look great in red and green, by the way, Cheese. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm a bit off you for joining yourselves, but anyway, we can live with that. As long as Blake, Solly, and Wayne are sweet with you doing this, I'll be kind to self.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, mate.